I'll request to remain standing for a word of prayer, and to lead us is Martha Kigo.
Let's bow down for a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, O Most High God, we are before your presence this morning, hosted by the mother of this nation, Her Excellency Mama Rachel Ruto. Thank you for bringing us esteemed guests, first ladies, ambassadors, ministers, and leaders from across this continent. We receive them with thanksgiving in the name of Jesus Christ. And Lord, even as we engage in this dialogue on building digital spaces that are safe for our children, we ask for your wisdom and insight that policies will be formed, partnerships will be formed, and solutions will be formed that as our children embrace emerging technologies, they will do it in a safe space. And every engagement that we have here today, we yield it to you for the glory of your name. It is in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
We may now take our seats. Your Excellency, Mama Rachel Ruto, the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellencies, visiting First Ladies from across our beautiful continent, heads of delegations, Honorable Cabinet Secretaries, Ministers, Principal Secretaries present, Ambassadors, United Nations representatives, heads of institutions, national and county leaders present, distinguished leaders from tech, policymakers, and most importantly, our young leaders and young children who are here this morning. I'm Jambo, and a warm welcome to State House, Nairobi. Today, on the sidelines of a landmark Africa Forward Summit, we gather for an issue that sits at the very heart of Africa's future, that is building safer digital spaces for children in Africa in an AI-driven world. Today, it's about establishing a firm digital boundary, ensuring that as Africa advances, our children are not merely online, but completely and securely protected. With your kind permission, Your Excellencies, I'll now invite on stage Madam Mary Moinde, Chief of Staff, Office of the First Lady, to give the welcoming remarks. Let's give her a warm welcome to the stage.
Your Excellency, Mama Rachel Ruto, the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, Marosa Elsie, the First Lady of the Republic of Madagascar, Your Excellency Lorraine, the First Lady of the Republic of Guinea, Honorable Philippe Dlamini, spouse to the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Honorable Neema Nchemba, spouse to the Prime Minister of the United Republic of Tanzania, Excellencies present, Cabinet Secretaries present, distinguished partners, ladies and gentlemen, habari zenyu. Karibuni Kenya. Good morning. It's an honor to welcome you to Nairobi for this important and timely conversation at the Africa Forward Summit. Today, we gather at a defining moment where technology is transforming not only economies and institutions, but also childhood itself. Across our continent, millions of children are entering digital spaces earlier, faster, and more independently than any generation before them, including my generation. We learned about digital just the other day. And while technology continues to open extraordinary opportunities for learning, innovation, connection, it also calls upon us to live with greater responsibility, urgency, and collaboration. That is why we are convening today, and your presence here, each one of you, it matters. Because the future of Africa digital transformation cannot be discussed without also discussing the safety, dignity, and well-being of the children growing up within us. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are honored by the presence and leadership of Her Excellency, Mama Rachel Ruto, the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, whose commitment to children, families, and economy, and the community well-being continues to elevate critical conversations both nationally and globally. Today's dialogue brings together leadership, expertise, and lived experience from across sectors and across borders, reminding us that protecting children in the digital age is not the responsibility of one institution or one country alone. It is a shared responsibility. It is our hope that the conversations that are going to be held here today will strengthen our partnerships, will inspire practical action, and contribute meaningfully to building safer digital spaces across Africa. Welcome to State House. It's good to have all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Muinde. Your Excellencies, with your permission now, I'll invite the Special Envoy on Technologies to Kenya, Ambassador Philip Thigo, to tell us why we are here. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for welcoming us here to State House. If you allow me to ride on existing protocols, let me also recognize my counterpart from France, Ambassador Clara Chappaz, if they can see you. Please stand so they see you, so they think we're not holding this alone. So Ambassador Clara Chappaz leads AI and digital technologies for France, so young girls in the room. She's an inspiration. She's the #1 AI expert in France. Thank you so much. We are here, first of all, of course, because of the future, and we see where the future is leading. And I think the two speakers have kind of outlined the age in which we live in right now. We call this the age of intelligence, where technology is mediating every aspect of our lives. I dare anybody in the room to tell me whether the first thing they looked at this morning was something else other than their phones. It was the first thing you looked at, right? WhatsApp, you made a call probably. I know we were calling each other in the morning. And so I think our daily engagements with each other has become mediated into this. And with children, and I have an 11-year-old, he has to take a photo of his food before he eats, which is something that kids, you have to tell us what that means. But I think we see how technology is really in the hands of children. And I think the Chief of Staff has been very clear to say that our children very much have access into these technologies. We definitely know now that they know more than us in these technologies. My son is the password giver in my house when visitors come. I don't even know the password of my Wi-Fi. And so we know that they're embracing these technologies in different ways. But let's not forget that when they have access to these technologies are not neutral. When these kids access these technologies, they are borderless. They do not choose whether the content they see are Kenyan, or Gambian, or Guinean, or Nigerian. And the choices that the technologies afford them is that they do not necessarily choose what they see. It's the technology platforms that determine what our children access in the first instance. And it doesn't matter whether you're a child in Nairobi or a child in the rural areas. But then what we've seen also, part of the access is while technology is accelerating learning, accelerating outcomes, accelerating experiences, it's also exposing our children at the same breadth to dangers and harms. And if the last 3-4 months have been an indication, we've seen that children are dying from suggestive content online. And so it is therefore, I think, in our considered view that Her Excellency, the First Lady, has taken up this noble view that it is not a usual project. It is an unusual project. It is necessary, and I say for me, it is something that will determine whether our kids will live to adulthood, because the numbers are staggering. Roughly 1 in every 10 children report some form of abuse, 1 in 10. And for a continent whose median age is 18 to 19, that tells you that our future is actually in danger. Research today tells us that 2 in 3 teenagers already have access to some form of AI platform. In Kenya, it even matters more because we are the #1 users of ChatGPT globally. Yes. We are also the #1 users of social media, spending 4 hours and 13 minutes a day, more than any other population in the world. So when the First Lady takes this course, it is based on data, but also it's based on the implication that Kenya will determine how our young people will either use technology for benefit or will be at the mercies of the potential harms in technologies. And Your Excellency, today we have leaders of platforms, whether it's TikTok, and thank you for flying in, Meta, Google, because they have made a commitment to ensure that even when they build these platforms, that they'll ensure that these platforms are safe. And I think for me, that's why we're here, to have a real conversation, and also the children are here, and I've seen many of them, and I know you've given us a lot of, yes, I can see you, they're all waving behind there, that we cannot have this conversation, and they've been very clear. There's no us without us. And so with children in the room, Your Excellency, we believe that this conversation will just not be theory. It will also have the input of children. And let me end by saying that today afternoon we will be having the main roundtable, chaired by His Excellency President Paul Kagame of Rwanda and His Excellency President Duma Boko of the Republic of Botswana, that Ambassador Clara and myself will be moderating. And we have committed, Your Excellency, that we will take input from this roundtable into the main summit, because we will do this. And I think the main rapporteur also is here to ensure that this is not a side event. It is part of the main recommendations that go into that. Your Excellency, also, with your permission, Kenya's just won the hosting of the 21st Internet Governance Forum in December, the first permanent forum of that kind of the United Nations, 16 to 18 of December. We have committed, Your Excellency, because I have been appointed as co-chair, to ensure that these recommendations also go there, and hopefully we will have this event in the Internet Governance Forum in December. With that, Your Excellency, let me hand back the program to the moderator.
Your Excellencies, with your kind permission, before we get into entertainment, allow me to ask those who require translation services, either in French or English. We do have those services available from our booth right from behind. Kindly make use of those services. Now, we get into the entertainment. We have 2 pieces of entertainment, and we'll start with a French poem. And we do have our learners who have worked very, very hard to make sure we have this piece that is speaking into the AI technologies. Let's give them a warm welcome. Welcome to the stage. English-speaking Kenyans, kindly get your headsets. Merci beaucoup. Your Excellencies and visiting delegates, Kianwe Comprehensive School is in Kirinyaga. Kirinyaga is in central Kenya. Central Kenya is next to our beautiful Mount Kenya. I believe now we all know where they come from. Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, now with your permission, allow me to invite State House Choir for the second presentation.
Ero wai magongo, ero koro miro, ero wai magongo, ero koro miro. Miro de chunyata. Ero wai magongo, ero koro miro, ero wai magongo, ero koro miro. Miro de chunyata. Yesu torogi. Miro wai. Miro de chunyata. Yesu torogi. Miro wai. Cuando
Let's give them a round of applause as they leave the stage kindly. Your Excellencies, now, with your kind permission, we'll switch gears. And now, excuse me, we are going to get into the next segment of this program. We're going to hear a few remarks. And to start us off is the head of programs, Office of the First Lady, Ms. Elizabeth Kosgei. Let's welcome her with a warm clap on stage.
Thank you. Your Excellency, Mama Rachel Ruto, the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellencies, visiting First Ladies from the Republic of Guinea and from the Republic of Madagascar, Honorable spouses to the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini and the Prime Minister of the United Republic of Tanzania, Cabinet Secretaries present, Principal Secretaries present, distinguished partners and guests, our children and young people, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Very warm welcome to all of you to State House, as you have already been welcomed by our Chief of Staff, Madam Mary Mwinde. It is an honor to convene this important conversation alongside the Africa Forward Summit and to welcome leaders, partners, innovators, advocates, and young people from across Africa. Allow me to begin by expressing our sincere appreciation on behalf of all the staff that work in the office of our First Lady, Her Excellency Mama Rachel Ruto. And we say thank you for your visionary leadership. We say thank you for the work, the love, and the passion that you have for the women and the children of this nation. We have learned from you how compassion meets passion, and it results in the great work that you do. Secondly, Your Excellency, allow me to sincerely appreciate Ambassador Philip Thigo, Kenya's Special Envoy on Technology, for the insightful framing he has shared with us this morning. His leadership continues to shape important global conversations around digital governance, innovation, and Africa's place in the future of technology. We are grateful for his contribution to this convening. I wish also to recognize World Vision International for their partnership and commitment to child protection. We all know that for decades, World Vision has worked closely with children, families, schools, and communities across the continent. Bringing that experience into conversations around digital safety is both timely and necessary. Why do I say so? It's because effective policy must remain connected to the lived realities. Your Excellencies and distinguished guests, we are meeting at a moment where childhood itself is being reshaped by technology. The digital world is no longer somewhere children occasionally visit. It is now deeply woven into how they learn, how they communicate, how they socialize, and how they understand the world around them. For many children, digital spaces have become part of everyday life long before they fully understand the systems influencing them. And now, you say artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has accelerated this shift even further. Children are increasingly interacting with systems that personalize content, systems that influence behavior, that shape attention, and determine what they see online, often in ways that are invisible to them, and sadly, very difficult for adults to monitor. It's also sad that at the same time, many families, schools, and institutions are still trying to catch up with the speed of these changes. I am. For Africa, this presents both opportunities and responsibility. Our continent is rapidly expanding digital access through mobility, connectivity, innovation, and digital learning initiatives. But connectivity alone is not enough. Access must be accompanied by protection, digital literacy, accountability, and inclusion. I totally agree with the United Nations Deputy Secretary General, Her Excellency Amina J. Mohammed, who emphasized, and I quote, that the future of our digital world must be inclusive, safe, and right-based. And importantly, African children must not remain invisible within the systems shaping the global digital future. They have to take part. Their realities, languages, cultures, and experiences must also inform how technology is designed, governed, and implemented. That is why today's discussions are so important to us and to our First Lady. The themes guiding this convening, from frontier risk to everyday harm, education and digital literacy, accountability and enforcement, and the role of families and communities, remind us that children online safety cannot be approached from one sector alone. It requires coordinated action across governments, industry, civil society, education systems, and communities at large. I believe we have a representation of all those in this convening. Most importantly, it requires listening to the children themselves. Thank you, Your Excellency, our First Lady, for being the voice of children, not just in Kenya, but in Africa. For you to be the voice, you had to listen to them. What emerges from this dialogue will help inform broader continental and global conversations, including the upcoming Internet Governance Forum here in Nairobi and other international processes shaping the future of digital governance. Your Excellencies and our distinguished guests, as I finish, thank you for being part of this important engagement and for bringing your expertise, experience, and commitments to the table today. May our discussions today move us beyond concern and towards practical, collaborative action that ensures Africa's digital future is not only innovative, but also safe, inclusive, and worthy of the children who will inherit it. Thank you so much.
Your Excellencies, the next speaker to give us brief remarks is the National Director, World Vision Rwanda, Ms. Pauline Okumo. Let's welcome her with a round of applause.
On behalf of Mrs. Lilian Ndozo, Regional Leader and Vice President, World Vision International Africa, Her Excellency, Mrs. Rachel Ruto, First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, Ambassador Clara Chapa, French Ambassador for Digital Affairs and Artificial Intelligence, Madam Mary Robinson, former President of Ireland, former United Nations High Commission of Human Rights, member, the elders, His Excellency Juan Manuel Santos Caldón, former President of Colombia, Nobel Peace Laureate, Chair, the elders, First Ladies are present here today, children and young people are present, distinguished guests, all protocol observed. It is indeed an honor and privilege to address you today on behalf of World Vision International at this important Africa Forward Summit side event, as it has been mentioned earlier by the previous speakers. I extend my sincere appreciation for Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, the Government of Kenya, and France, our partners, and most importantly, the children and young people whose voices continue to remind us why this conversation matters. We'll keep on repeating the same message so that we get the point. This convening comes at a critical moment in Africa's digital journey and across the continent. Children are coming online faster, it has been said, than any other generation before them. And I want to be specific about some data that UNICEF has given, that 1 in 3 internet users globally is a child. This is not a future challenge, it's a current, and it requires urgent attention. As artificial intelligence becomes increasingly embedded in education, social media, gaming, and communication platforms, the question before us is no longer whether children should be online, but whether the digital environment they inhabit are being designed, governed, and financed to safeguard their safety, dignity, and well-being. Now, just a brief about World Vision International. It's a Christian relief, development, and advocacy organization working in nearly 100 countries to address the root causes of poverty, injustice, so that the children, families, and communities can reach their full potential. And across Africa, our work spans humanitarian response, long-term development, and child protection and participation, with deliberate focus on the most vulnerable children. At the intersection of this work lies digital inclusion, where policy influence are essential. Our experience consistently shows that the child online safety is a critical test of whether digital transformation truly contributes to inclusive and sustainable development. Now, World Vision technical expertise in child protection and safeguarding is grounded in decades of experience, strengthening protection system at community, national, and continental levels. This includes building children's resilience and digital literacy, strengthening families and community protection mechanism, and also supporting reporting and referral pathways to address all forms of violence against children, including online abuse, and influencing policy development and implementation. Distinguished guests and excellence, from our work across Africa, there are 4 realities. I just want to highlight them. First, digital risks affecting children are escalating rapidly. I think it has been mentioned. Digital space now extends into classrooms, playgrounds, and marketplaces. Online risks are increasingly automated across border, ranging from cyberbullying and harmful content to technology-facilitated sexual exploitation, AI-generated deception, and synthetic abuse that is difficult to detect and respond to. Now, child safety must therefore be built into digital systems by design, not addressed after the harm occurs. Secondly, policy commitment alone do not guarantee protection. I think that has been said. Across many contexts, enforcement gaps persist, often compounded by a growing digital divide between generations. Many parents and caregivers lack the technical literacy needed to recognize or respond to the risks their children face online. This leaves children exposed despite existing legal and policy framework. The third one is protection begins in the home and community. The challenge is fundamental globally. no single actor, it has been said, government, industry, or civil society can respond this alone. So we acknowledge that effective solution required shared responsibility across borders, sectors, and institutions. Then the fourth and critical is child safety. This will not be achieved without sustained and predictable financing. It's very important that we have to discuss about financing, policies, principle, and political commitments mean little if they are not backed by resources. Across Africa, systems designed to prevent and respond to online sexual exploitation and abuse and other technology-facilitated harms remain severely under-resourced. Helplines, for example, struggle to operate at scale. Reporting and takedown mechanisms are uneven. Survivor services are limited. And law enforcement and regulatory bodies often lack the tools and capacity that is needed to respond to rapidly evolving digital threats. Across Africa, we are seeing the power of grounding solutions in local systems. In Kenya, in communities supported by World Vision, increasingly recognize online harassment and impersonation as child protection concerns, requiring structured responses, just like offline abuse. In Uganda, for example, initiatives that bring parents, adolescents together around digital literacy have strengthened trust and increased early reporting of harm. This experience reaffirms a critical truth that children are essential partners in making digital space safer. Africa has already taken important steps. The Africa Union Child Online Safety Empowerment Policy, African Union Continental AI Strategy 2024, and the Africa Union Digital Transformation Strategy for Africa 2020-2030 stands as a landmark commitment, positioning Africa as the first region globally to adopt a continental framework dedicated specifically to protecting children's rights in the digital environment. As we open the dialogue, I invite us to get some attention on how these commitments translate into protection in children's everyday digital lives. And this calls for, one, strengthening child-centered digital AI governance, two, promoting responsible and inclusive technology design, three, investing in digital literacy for families, schools, and communities, fourth, ensuring that children and young people are meaningfully engaged as co-creators of solutions and peer educators against digital harm. And critically mobilizing sustainable financing to end online sexual exploitation and abuse and other technology-facilitated harm. Allow me to just underscore this final point. Protection without resources do not protect. Protection without resources do not protect. Sustainable financing is very essential to support survivor-centered services, to support trusted reporting, takedown system, regulatory and law enforcement capacity, research, digital literacy, and community-based child protection mechanism. Financing must therefore be treated not as an afterthought, but as a core part of the accountability architecture for the child online safety. Now, World Vision remains committed to working alongside governments, regional bodies, technology actors, and communities to bridge global commitments with local realities. Together, let us ensure that Africa's digital future is one in which children are not only connected, but are safe, protected, empowered, and heard. Thank you very much. Asante sana, Murakosi. God bless you.
Your Excellencies, now to close for us this segment, allow me to invite Chief Executive Officer Mo Ibrahim Foundation, Nathalie Delafin, to give her remarks. Welcome. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me, and I'm very honored to be here with all of you. I'll be very brief, so I'm not an expert. I just want to say that I think we all agree that this can't just be a side issue, treated as a side event, and indeed one of the key initiatives of the next G7 meeting will be around this key issue. Why a key issue? Because, of course, children are now already 1/4 of the world population, but the truth is they will be 100% of the world's population very soon. And out of this 100%, most of them will be African. So it's really something that, for leadership and governance, is a key issue. And if we don't address it and join forces to address it properly, we will be responsible for a very weak world and maimed world. So we really need to do it very properly. Now, there has been many commitments made, many declarations, many agreements signed, but I think that now it's time to walk the talk, to go from commitments to implementation, and to go from the what, on which I think we all agree, to the how. How are we going to do it? Who is going to do it? Who is going to be responsible for it? Now, on the main, I think this means to define properly how we are going to do it. It means assessing the needs, where are they, identifying the resources needed. And if you allow me, I think it's, of course, financial resources are key. But I think joining forces, sharing expertise, collaborating is also key. Because this is absolutely an issue that knows of no borders and of no revenues level. So if we don't join forces with all stakeholders, it's not going to happen. This also means monitoring the results and having indicators to show where we are, from where we are going, and if we are going there properly, in order to amend, upscale, upgrade, whenever needed, the strategies, the resources, the partnerships. So this was just what I wanted to say, just maybe 2 examples. At the Mo Ibrahim Foundation, we are, as you may know, working on a governance index, which covers all African countries. And we are currently working already to include in that governance index something that will enable us to monitor what is governance when it comes to digital and AI. But of course, we lack data. So I would also say that data, once again, is absolutely key if we want to define efficient policies. And in another instance, the Paris Peace Forum has put together, which has been initiated by President Macron, has put together an AI Rise, which is putting together once again around the table scientists who can tell us what is really safe or what's dangerous or what's safe, what needs to be safeguarded when it comes to children accessing AI and digital, putting together AI companies, putting together governments. 12 of them have already signed it, and on these 12 we have Senegal and Benin who have joined this initiative. So welcome whoever is wanting to join this collaboration. Thank you very much.
Let's give our speakers a round of applause. Thank you so much. With your permission, Your Excellencies, we'll now move to the next segment of this program, and to guide us is Ambassador Figo. Let's welcome him back to the stage.
Thank you so much. And quickly, with the permission, Your Excellency, we'll go into the pillar discussions. Let me quickly invite, and these are the big tech. Quickly, Angela Wamola, co-convener of the Africa Task Force on Child Online Protection. From GSMA, you'll explain to us what GSMA is. And let me invite Masindegwa, Public Policy Director for East Africa and the Horn. From Meta, that's Facebook, WhatsApp. Did I forget a platform? Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, Messenger. Thank you. Let me also invite Karen Besije from Safaricom. And last but not least, let me invite Tonkunbo Ibrahim from TikTok.
Thank you very much.
I'm surprised it's all women, so let's... So I think in this panel, and because I'm committing all of you to supporting the First Lady, so we're just not visiting today. So this will be the first of many discussions. Let me start with Angela, and I'll be very quick in terms of asking you, why the African Task Force on Child Online Protection?
So, thank you very much, and all protocols observed. Thank you, children, for inviting us to come and speak about how we can support you in this area. When we look at the GSMA, we are a global association that brings the ecosystem of all mobile development, digital innovations, and deployments. And across Africa, as you've seen, there is an opportunity for us. Today, 330 million people in Africa are online, and that's only 28%. The significant opportunity is about 70%, which is about 960 million Africans have access to broadband technology right next to them, but they've never gone online. And so the importance of the Africa Task Force, together with GSMA, UNICEF, and all our mobile operators, law enforcement agencies, it's about trying to make sure that even as we have this opportunity to bring 960 million online, including all children, majority of our population are under the age of 19, then we can begin to understand how do we focus our efforts to begin to have safety by design from the beginning. So when they do get online, they find that we've built an environment for them, a safe space for them. And so we're focusing on on 5 areas: prevention and creating awareness, detection and enforcement with the law enforcement agencies, safety by design with all the products that they are going to encounter, reporting and accountability. And this is why we need the children to call us out if we're not doing the right things in accountability. And this year, we're bringing onto this space AI and gaming, as you heard. We are online consumers, but we are also becoming producers. With the Africa GSMA initiative on bringing African languages, an African language model online, how do we bring that safety and design into those spaces so that they are, we have created those safe spaces for them?
Thank you so much. And GSMA, as you've understood, is all the mobile network operators. So everybody from your Safaricom to your Airtel to your Tigos, and hopefully you will invite Her Excellency to champion.
Yes, indeed.
Let us welcome Her Excellency President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, former President of Liberia, and also a Nobel Peace Laureate. Thank you very much. quickly, as I've said, Angela, because you are the continental supporter, let me go to Karen. Why did Safaricom join this initiative?
Thank you so much, Philip. I think for us, we joined because we realized that digital safety for our children is a shared responsibility, and we have a bigger responsibility in Kenya, in Ethiopia, to lead in this sector. And so for us, we joined because we know as the mobile network operators that child safety reporting mechanisms can sit with us. We've done this by having the child helpline, 116. We've done another toll-free helpline for DCI, so that also people can report incidences of children. We've partnered with UNICEF on Spot It, Stop It campaign that ran around COVID time when children were at home, and we felt that we had platforms that could help keep the children safe. So for us, we realized that reinforcing child safety measures is an approach that is grounded within what we believe in, and it is by safety of what we do. So I want to give an example. When we developed M-Pesa Go, the mobile money wallet for children, so adults have M-Pesa for financial inclusion, and we said most of our children are left out of inclusion. So we said we're going to develop Mobile Go. While it enhances financial literacy among the teens, it also embeds controls so that parents can start having the culture of controlling and checking what the children do online. Over and above that, we've also worked very well with other partners, the Internet Watch Foundation, to be able to block those sites for children. And under Safaricom and M-Pesa Foundation, we are advancing digital literacy in schools, and therefore we feel strongly that we have a role to play in ensuring that we keep our children safe while also exposing them to the world, to digital content that is relevant to education, because we do not want our children left behind because we are scared. So within safe parameters, digital literacy for teachers, plus the children, so that they enjoy what others are enjoying, but within a safe space. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Karen. I think I wanted to raise it because we have excellencies from other countries, and it's good for them to understand how a mobile network operator in a country can work in a way that protects children with the support, of course, of the continent, of the global, not even continental, of the global network of mobile operators. And so I think, Your Excellency, we have here the capability to support you and the other First Ladies in terms of how we drive online safety for children. Let me go into the platforms now, because we are just used to seeing apps and logos. At least now we have a face. So Facebook has a face in Mercy, and Mercy is a good friend, and I think she's accepted to come here. So I think what people do not know is what do platforms do from your side to ensure that the platforms are safe. For data point, and you correct me, I think you have 15 million Kenyans on your platforms. 20 million. So please.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ambassador. My name is Mercy Ndegwa, and I'm really grateful to be before this audience hosted by you, Your Excellency, Madam Rachel Ruto, and the other excellencies here present, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Platforms like ours, so Meta, as you said rightly, it offers a variety of technologies, which include, in this country, that are really, really popular, would include Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, as well as Messenger. And I think a lot of the children that we see, and when I say children, in the case of Meta, we define users who are between the age of 13 and 18 to be the youth that we allow on our platform. So we don't allow actually children below the age of 13. So any children behind there, I know there's one who was really, really enthusiastic and was uploading everyone. I hope you're not on Instagram. We only allow children from the age of 13. Why do we do that? So it's a question of what we are doing. Meta platforms across the world currently have about 3 billion users. That's a lot of people. When you think about the fact that the population in the world is about 8 billion, I'd say 8 to 8 billion. So we do carry the responsibility of having such a huge platform that is actively used by people every day very seriously. And so what we have done as a company, particularly in the case of children, is to make sure that we're doing exactly what Angela was speaking to. We are every day investing a lot in making sure that we can prevent harm before it happens as a key priority when it comes to children. We think about how can we make sure that our systems are able to pick out content that is problematic, that children might access or have access to or see on platforms before they even see it. So a lot of times we already are spending a lot of money, billions of dollars to be exact, to train our systems every day to understand language diversities that we have across the world, particularly of languages that are widely spoken, to know what terms do children generally use when it comes to how they speak to each other, which terms are problematic. When we think about suspicious actors on our platforms who might be targeting children, we are looking at what are the patterns and trends, and we do this by working very collaboratively with governments, law enforcement offices across the world. We have a lot of people who have those specialties and disciplines within the company that understand how to do this work, collaboratively with all of these people to make sure that we are understanding well how those people present themselves on our platform so we can arrest the problems before they are presented to children. But to the second point that Angela raised is the question of detection. We are also investing heavily to make sure that our platforms can detect those accounts, for example. There's people who would come onto the platform pretending to be children and wanting to target children, for instance. We're able to pick out those suspicious accounts, those who create parody accounts and take them down even before they get access to children. But more than that, we also have empowered the children themselves by making sure that they have unique account features, similar to what Safaricom is doing, as Karen was saying earlier. We have accounts that are specifically only for children. Like I said, ages 13 to 18, we have specific accounts that are designed only for children. So, for example, you have an Instagram account yourself as an adult, where you can be presented with a friend request, somebody who finds you and wants to be your friend and wants to meet with you and become your friend online. In the case of children, we don't allow any friends to be able to access a child directly, or anyone that they not know, that is not on their contact list, to be able to do that. We do the same also with parents to make sure that parents themselves can approve any requests or even to view the interactions the children are having on their account. So we do a lot to empower the child, including on how to report any content that they see that is problematic. And this could be the content that has slipped the, let me say, artificial intelligence or tools that we've automated to pick out the content on its own. And so we are working collaboratively a lot of times with the experts on children matters. I think I've had World Vision speak here, very familiar with the work World Vision does on the ground. We work with them on the ground. Here locally, we work with organizations like Mtoto News, Watoto Watch, the mobile networks, Safaricom and others, to make sure that we are creating the awareness, the digital literacy, especially to empower parents in understanding how they can support their children navigate online spaces well. We recognize that even though we are taking these measures to ensure that the safety of children is upheld, that a lot of times the work is also to enforce and amplify the good uses that we see the internet and social connections being built through having these platforms. So we're trying to make sure that all the time we're balancing between that, the good, and making sure that we keep them safe while doing that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mercy. I think what we need to do more is advocacy and amplification, and I hear parents, and from one of the speeches, I think it was a CEO, I think it was Koske who mentioned that children are way ahead of parents. And I think hopefully from this we will or may work with the First Lady and the First Ladies on a campaign to educate parents. Because technology is changing very quickly. The children may be with the changes, but parents. I think yesterday there was somebody from Mtoto News who said my phone was 15 years old. A child, I think he was 9. And so you could see they can tell me what I don't know. So I think there's a part that we need to do more because much is expected from parents. Finally, let's go to TikTok. At least we have a TikTok face. I just see the app. Besides dancing, you see, they know. So those kids are on TikTok, right? Should they be on TikTok? One. And then what do you do also in terms of safety?
Thank you very much, Ambassador. First of all protocols observed. Thank you for having me on this panel. My name is Tokumbo Ibrahim, and I lead government relations and public policy for TikTok across sub-Saharan Africa. The answer to your first question, the simple answer is no. TikTok is a 13+ app, which means we don't allow users younger than 13 to be on the platform. And even for users 13 to 18, it's a different type of experience that they have on the platform. They have more stringent safety by design tools that they can access, right? Their pages are set to private by default. They are not accessible or eligible for the For You feed, so they cannot be discovered by other users on the platform. Direct messaging is also not applicable for users 13 to 15. For 16 and 17-year-olds, they have to actively opt in, so it's no by default. So these are just some of the safety by design things that we do for users of our platform. And just to your point on awareness, education, we also understand the importance of parents, teachers, guardians, knowing the safety tools available that they can access. We do have a lot of safety tools like parent peering, where parents can peer their teens' TikTok accounts to theirs, so that they have an overview of what their teens are doing online. We are aware that maybe knowledge about that is not as much. So we have various partnerships with civil society. In Kenya alone, we have been doing some educational drives with, I believe is Matoto News, and we have reached about 700,000 Kenyans. We are using the Train the Trainer model. We've gone as far as 36 counties. We also partner with different law enforcement regulators. We also have helplines embedded in our platform, so that teens that require any type of support can get that support in-app. So those are some of the features, those are some of the things that we do. We know that there is no finish line to safety, so we continue to invest in partnerships, we continue to invest in education. In November last year, we did announce a $2 million AI educational fund just to support civil society and NGOs that creates AI literacy to spread their message even further. And in March, we announced an additional $200,000 for AI education fund across sub-Saharan Africa as well. We've seen uptake of more than 20 AI-focused organizations that have been able to therefore use that to educate the public more, educate parents, teachers on AI, which we believe is very useful. So yeah, those are some of the things we do to ensure the safety of our children.
Thank you so much. And of course, you know what I'm going to ask next. You mentioned 2,200,000. So I'm going to, and somebody mentioned finance. I think it was World Vision was important. So as I said, I'm going to commit people. So because we are friends, First Ladies have offered to champion this initiative. Resources will be required. So on behalf of the First Ladies, since you already have those resources, it will be my wish that you consider to support the First Ladies in this initiative, because I think, yes, you're supporting across the stack, but I have a sense that the First Ladies have a bigger platform. And so I think it will be my considered opinion that this is something that we really want to see how to work with them, because, as we say, Africa forward. So how do we move together with the First Ladies? And we know resources are key to this. Because we do not have time, let me end this panel with one closing word. If you can commit, I'm happy. And the children will be happy, so now I'm going to put the children in your hands, to this initiative, because for us, I think this was the beginning, not of a conversation, but of an initiative, because technology, as you heard, is changing very quickly. Our children are the most risk in the world. Kenya is even worse off, so if you can hear one or two commitments from the room, that would be useful. Thank you very much. Let me start with Angela.
So we also heard that what is not measured does not matter. So we commit as a GSMA, with all the data that we have, to continue showing where action is needed. We understand that Africa is a mobile-first continent, and if the smartphone is where we will interact with AI, understanding that it's going to shape what we do with our children in their education, in their learning, in health, then it's important that we build those safeguards. And so we're doing a trust challenge with Zindi as part of understanding how our African language by design will have understanding how we can combat cyberbullying and harassment using AI. Thank you.
So data, right? So we provide data to the First Ladies and their teams so that they know how to target. Thank you.
First of all, can I just start by saying that Meta is really committed to youth safety, and we are always looking to collaborate. So to the question of whether we can, we are more than happy to do that. So our doors are open and would love to collaborate with the First Ladies here to see how we can. I know that our First Lady is very keen on supporting women particularly, and women are the mothers that nurture children, and so we'll be more than happy to support in building digital literacy for those women across the country, and also to do that across the region for the First Ladies and others who are representing other nations here. We are open. I cover the Eastern Horn of Africa region, but I also lead on our economic policy work across Africa, so I would be more than happy to receive any of those requests, and we can consider them and see how we do that across the continent. But to wind up, I think I would just like to urge those who are here, first of all, to address the children and to say, I hope that you have your accounts set as teen accounts, that you're using the accounts that are age appropriate for you, and that if you have an account that is not age appropriate, that you should go and indicate your rightful age on the settings, because it is the only way our platforms can protect you, because we have stricter enforcement across your account to make sure that those who are trying to target you or bring bad content to you, place advertisements in front of you, won't be able to do that. So please ensure you have the right settings. But to parents who are in the room, if you're using Instagram or Facebook or any of our platforms, please go to the settings and find the safety center. You will have all the information and shortcuts on how you can support the children around you. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Mercy.
At Safaricom, we believe that children are the citizens of the future. And if we are supporting children as citizens of the future, then as a business, we are always happy to be on the table to carry on in these discussions, in this support, because what is the cost of not supporting the citizens of the future within digital literacy, digital hygiene, and the likes? So we believe in giving the children the best foundation, as they will be the responsible adults of tomorrow. Therefore, when called upon on the table, we are ready, able, and willing to be on the table and to discuss.
Thanks so much, Safaricom. And I hope you can also help the other First Ladies with conversations with the telcos, similar as yours, in their countries.
Yes, we have GSMA, our convener here. We have Meta. Whenever called upon, we will come running to support with our thought leadership, with the knowledge we have, because what is knowledge if we keep it unto ourselves? We've got to share it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So at TikTok for us, youth safety is core for us. It's why we also have what we call our Youth Advisory Council, which is essentially an advisory council made up of youths. We find that in as much as we are trying to protect the younger generation, protect the youths, we also need their voices in the room, we need their perspectives, and this advisory council is made up of youths across the world, inclusive of Africa. And to show the importance of this council, the council has actually met our CEO, and they meet from time to time and provide insights into the platforms and how we can become safer for teens. And some of the input from this council has impacted our safety designs. We are also always open to collaboration, open to taking conversations from collaborative conversations to actual actions. So we are open to the collaboration. I think one thing that we think will also be useful is transparency in terms of data, the type of data that we are seeing across the continent in terms of offensive content, in terms of content against children. We believe that that data, anonymized, of course, will also quite be useful to helping keep our children even safer. So yes, that's a conversation we're willing to continue to have.
Thanks so much. And I think because you also mentioned you train, let me not lose that, because you train parliamentarians, politicians, government people. Can I also make a request that if we figure out how to work with the First Lady, so you can also train them on the platforms?
Yes, definitely.
Because I think that's important. Because part of understanding, championing the platform is understanding the platform. So I think that would be useful just in terms of offering that resource. And I know your team has been quite instrumental in doing that with politicians, but let's also get the First Lady trained. And with that, thank you very much. Let me thank Tukunbo, Karen, Mercy, and Angela again for their support and commitment. And I hope somebody was taking notes because we will follow up. Thank you so much. Let's transition very quickly to the education panel. Please give them a hand. Let me invite Winnie from Microsoft, Michael from Google. Again, it's a big tech panel again, just breaking it into. Let me invite World Vision also. Yeah, so these will be very short. We've already heard from the platforms that are actually where people get engaged. But also you've had a conversation on educational literacy. I think there's a big challenge, especially when technology is moving very quickly and it keeps on changing. Some of us who haven't studied technology can't keep up. So Winnie, very briefly, what is Microsoft doing?
Thank you. All protocols observed, and thank you again for having me today. So Microsoft is committed to building AI fluency and digital literacy across the world. We have a commitment to train 20 million people every year. Currently, have the same initiative in Kenya to train another 1 million people, and the idea would be to ensure how we can do that effectively. So we partner with different institutions in Kenya. So our focus has been really in thinking about the future workforce and partnering with institutions that are mandated to deliver those trainings. So we work with the Teacher Service Commission from an educator perspective to build AI literacy and cybersecurity as well, awareness. And the idea as well is to ensure that once we build that capacity for the teachers, they also will be able to translate that to the students and ensure that once they are exposing those technologies to the students, it's actually being responsible. The second piece is also in terms of coding, and we have a partner that has over 100 coding schools, coding clubs across the country, and the focus here is also introduce students to these technologies, but in a very safe way. So we have the coding clubs, but also using AI to train AI, and so ensuring that we can be able to use technologies like Minecraft, which is a game that we have from Microsoft that supports students to be able to learn how to code, but also kind of using gaming as a way for them to learn the boundaries when it comes to AI safety and what can they do and not do in the technology space. The third piece also is in terms of we have the Kenya AI Skilling Alliance, and that is an engine that is not only just ensuring that we drive awareness across the board. So this is just not limited to education, but also existing workforce. So thinking about professional associations, also in terms of government, and really using the engine to be able to be an engine of policy. So what are the challenges that we're seeing? I think one of the areas where we've identified is actually in terms of AI in education. So there's a big gap in terms of how is generative AI being used in schools and being adopted in schools, and how can we support with the government and work with the government to co-create a policy around this and a strategy around this as well. And then finally, when it comes to thinking about how do we actually deploy this technology. So we do have Microsoft education tools that are available for free for teachers and students. And I think one of the things that we've also been looking at is ensuring that there's that age appropriation. So I think that's already mentioned in the first panel, anything that for any user that is below 18 years old, we're making sure that we have that stricter enforcement when it comes to blocking some prompts, to information that cannot be used, or even just ensuring that they don't have access to adult content. So, and ensuring that it's being deployed in the classroom safely and responsibly. I think the last thing I would say is all our content is, when we talk about AI fluency, it also means responsible AI, and we have the 6 principles that Microsoft uses for that, which is on safety, transparency, accountability, reliability, privacy, security, and inclusiveness. So we use that as the principles that we use to be able to train in any context possible. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Vin. And I think it's important for folks to understand that it's just not the kind of the online harms potentially, but also is the potential risk of people losing jobs and not being on the AI economy. So I think we need to look at that also as a big risk. And so I think potentially it's interesting to see what you're doing across private sector, civil society, but also educators and education. So I think that's something we want to follow up, because as we've said, parents are the ones we really need to empower. Michael, let me go to you. Same question, Google.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Philip. Your Excellencies, esteemed guests, colleagues, and dear children. In terms of skilling for Google, we started with an AI skilling blueprint for Africa to serve as a basis for dialogue with policymakers on how to approach the AI skilling moment. So we launched this last year, and we have been domesticating it in various engagements with African policymakers. The second thing we are doing, especially here in Kenya, we are engaging with the Kenya School of Government in bringing AI skilling to civil servants. Because once now we take care of policy making bed, and then we work with the premier training institution for government, we collaborate with government to make sure that the policy making side of it is covered. And after that, we have programs also that work with parents and teachers. One of our key curricula in that regard is called Experience AI. It has been developed by the Raspberry Pi Foundation in collaboration with Google DeepMind and domesticated for Africa. And this is free curricula for schools that teachers can use to run AI education, including AI training in schools. And finally, we have Be Internet Awesome. Be Internet Awesome is our flagship online safety training content for children, also available for free for schools to adapt and lead in their schools. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Michael. And Your Excellency, what we've agreed with the companies is to ensure that the content is not tied to a company.
Yes.
That the content is open in a way that it doesn't necessarily favor one company. And hopefully this is something that will support all the excellencies in the room. World Vision, you come from the ground. As in Kenya we say, in the ground things are different. Yes. I know private schools have better access, better experience. I was here to hear the school from Mount Kenya, whether they totally agree with anything we said here, or whether they agree that they have access to devices. I was challenged by one child that they told me they don't even have devices. They don't even have a computer lab. And here we're talking about AI. We're talking about safety. We're talking about smartphones. What is World Vision say?
So, thank you very much. Allow me to stand on the protocol already established, and thank you for having me. World Vision is a child-focused organization which is also community empowering and working in the most difficult areas to reach in the countries where we work. Education is core, and it is one of our main focus of interventions. And today, as we discuss building safe digital spaces for children in Africa and AI-driven, we bring the voice of those who come from the most difficult places to be or environments to live in, like the most remote places, the informal settlements, and those who are disadvantaged to be living as displaced populations. And as World Vision, as we focus on education, supporting education systems, learning environments, and we also focus a lot on others who control the narrative of truth and sensory impulse that shape the person's worldview. And by so doing, as we look at the education, we need also to not just focus at the child, but also focus at the significant others who shape the worldview of these children, and these include the parents. So we have programs that support education, but by supporting parents to understand their role in education for their children, including the digital literacy, the children's siblings, the teachers, where sometimes we may assume that teachers who are well equipped on pedagogical skills to teach our children, some of the teachers could be illiterate in terms of AI and digital skills. So helping teachers also gain literary skills, looking at the caregivers, and also those who shape these truths of narrative, like the faith leaders and the work of the faith leaders within our communities. Those who profess Christian faith, every Sunday, maybe you give 2 hours to faith leaders to speak certain things that shape their narratives as children. Those who Muslims go to madrasas, those truths that what is spoken to these children, they shape their narratives. Now, in the world where digital and AI is bringing a lot of conflicting information, sometimes that is not truthful, and that also, which makes them question what is truthful and what is not truthful. So as World Vision, we work with those significant others that not only focusing at the formal sector, but also informal sector and the whole child protection system as a whole.
Thank you so much. And I think you bring this big element around safety to include socio-technical risks. And somebody said, if you do not have truth, you don't have trust. If you don't have trust, we don't have a shared reality. And I think this is the biggest risk that we have right now because of misinformation, disinformation. And I know there's a child who's supposed to be in this panel. I'll bring him in the next panel because I want children to close this because these adults, I think the children are fed up of us talking. So let's see when they speak. So I think finally, and this is important, I think you've all mentioned the importance of educating across the stack. What would be your closing remark? Because because part of what we mentioned is that we are expecting so much from parents today. We're also expecting so much from children. You've even expanded it to the significant others. How do we navigate this in a very real and grounded way? Because as I think a colleague from Mo Ibrahim Foundation said, it seems we have everything. So why are we not protecting children? In terms of education, Winnie, as a closing remark, where do you see us in the next 2-3 years?
Where do we see ourselves? I think one, being very clear in terms of how we allow these technologies in the classroom and having that guidance. I think that policy around generative AI and other technologies and how we use that will determine, of course, there's all the harms, but also there's all the benefits in terms of using the technologies and how do we make sure we can get the best out of it. The second piece would be in terms of how do we empower the teachers and the educators as well as the parents. And I think a lot of work needs to be done in that space. I know France is doing quite a bit of work in the same space and leading when it comes to child safety. And I think being able to partner and I think co-creating a lot of that content. There's, of course, a lot that is already being done on a global level. I'm very excited about what Watoto is doing as well. And I think the opportunity would be how we contextualize and make sure that the content actually speaks to the realities of the continent, making sure that it's actually representative. So a lot of people, the African child is actually at risk to be exposed to more harm because of the biases that already exist within the AI. And so how do you make sure that you can actually make sure that it's more represented? I think the third thing as well, I think we cannot speak about AI without digital literacy, connectivity, devices, and the infrastructure that is required to be able to do so. And so continuing to invest from a possibility of inclusive by design, and ensuring that everyone have access. I think I like that Safaricom is here and they're doing a lot of work in the same space, but having that collaborative effort in being able to ensure we are ensuring that everyone is, we are not leaving anyone behind, I think will be critical for us to move forward.
Thanks. So my vision, I think policy-wise first is to see all the AI safety protocols and principles, a number of which have been pioneered by industry, embedded into the emerging frameworks of policy and legislation that are coming up across Africa. In terms of education of children and parents and guardians, I think it would be ideal to see national curricula reviewed and updated with an AI-fast or AI-ready workforce, including AI safety. And then for my colleagues in industry, for us to continue building AI fast, building safety fast into our products, continuing with the education of our users, and building partnerships to advance those goals. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much. Three things. One, let's think of protection of our children. Number two, let's think of inclusivity. While we are talking about digital literacy, is it the same for a child in Turkana, Tana River, Lamu, West Pokot, with a child in Nairobi, Mombasa, and Nakuru, with a disabled child? Is it the same understanding? With a child who is living in a displaced population, is that the same? Let's think of inclusivity. And lastly, let's think of partnership. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And on that note, thank you very much. Please thank my panel. This is speed dating. But I volunteered you to support the First Lady. I hope so. Okay, thank you. As long as we agreed on that. Quickly, let me get in tie. He was the child who we missed in the previous panel. Thank you. You can clap for him, please. Let's get Jennifer. Let me get Baraza and Faith. Is Ezekiel Baraza here? And Faith. Karibuni, asanteni sana. This is the final of the three. We started with risks from the companies. We went to, yes, the companies, but also our vision around educational literacy. Now we are ending with families and schools, and of course our rock star here. I mean, we're here because of you. How are you?
I'm doing all right, yeah.
Thank you so much. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Tai Yanumurezi Gitar. Today I'm representing Mutato News and Jawabu School.
Okay, you should come for me. So, I'm going to go to Jennifer, and then I'm going to come to you. Jennifer, why Mtoto News? Why did you do a framework? And who did the framework? I hope it wasn't you.
You know the author, they know themselves. Actually, it's him who did this framework, so I'm just the carrier of the book. So, why Mtoto News? So, in 2014, 2015, my child was 3 years old. My daughter was 3 years old. And one day she came back from school crying and asked her, why are you crying? Mommy, I want to be Dora the Explorer. So my child had very long locks, like really, really long locks. And she cried, she wanted to cut them. So for those ones who have grown locks, you know how much investment you go into those things. It's too much expensive. And she wants to be Dora the Explorer. And I had to cut her hair. But I had to tell her, your hair will never be straight, my child. And then it hit me how technology is changing the framework of our children. So from the beginning, our children are being told this is how you should look like. You should be lighter, you should be thinner, you should have straight hair. And so that's why we started Mtoto News, because I wanted a place where children can be able to look at themselves and see, oh, I have my type C hair is acceptable. My dark skin is acceptable. My African hips are acceptable. And that's why we started Mtoto News. But we saw we can only do ourselves, but how can we be able to influence others to be able to do the same? And that's why we work very closely with tech companies to be able to do the same. Please do not show our children that being light-skinned is better. But we saw we can be able to be doing here in Nairobi, making all the noise, working with Mercy, working with the guys from TikTok or Safaricom, but these policies are not being made in Nairobi. They're being in San Francisco, they're being made in New York or Geneva. So what we said, we are going to develop policies that are for us, frameworks that are for us, that are speaking our language, things that we are relatable to. For example, when I talk about rites of passage, in Africa, we had a process. We did not wake up one day you're 5 years old and then the following day you are married. Okay? There was a process. There was a way we used to, you get weaned into adulthood. But in technology, you don't do that. One day you're 12 and then 13. You can be able to be on the phone. But who taught you, who trained you, who actually weaned you into the technology? Okay? And then what are the processes? What are the responsibility that you have? Okay? If you go look right now, throughout all frameworks, we don't have any responsibility of our child. But as Africans, we knew we have responsibility. We were brought up with responsibility. So that's why we developed a framework that speaks our language, that speaks our culture. And if you look through this framework, we did with the ambassador here, we are speaking our language, like Ubuntu, Maths, Uvumuzi. Language, like Sema. It's things that if I say as an African, you will know. You will know what it means. It's not things that we are copying from Brussels. Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And I think part of the risk and that's why we moved into this panel, is not the risks that people are used to.
Yes.
I think the risks are real to the extent that the technology currently does not reflect our values. Yeah. We have 2,000 African languages, and yet none of them is in the AI models. The one thing that I didn't mention when I started is that the number one user of ChatGPT are Kenyans, but the number one use is emotional advice and companionship. So understand when Jennifer says that our languages are not present and our values are not present, yet we are seeking emotional advice and companionship on those platforms. So if that is not a risk, even an existential risk, a values risk, then I don't know what is. And so I think it's important for us to understand why we need to work with the platforms. And I'm sure it's not by design. It's simply because there's no Kenyan, engineer, or African engineers in those platforms. I think it is important, and that's why I wanted Tai to be here, because we seem to be building things for them without necessarily with them, and then eroding what could be potentially be a future. So Tai, you have what we call the veto. You can come in anytime to speak. So if you want to speak, speak now. If not, I'll go to somebody else.
You want to speak?
Yes.
Okay, I completely agree. You can even see it sometimes in school. You find someone is asking ChatGPT, how can I make this person my friend? That's concerning, to say the least. Yeah. So, yeah.
And should they be using ChatGPT?
And today?
Should they be using ChatGPT, you think?
No, I mean, we have parents, we have like school advisors, at least in our school, and we have we even have chat, yeah. So you don't need AI for it to be your companion, yeah.
Thanks so much, Ty. Advice from the wisest man in the, on the panel. Ezekiel, please.
Thank you. Ezekiel Baraza is my name. I think the first thing I need to say is to reiterate what you have mentioned. The need for parents, teachers, and faith leaders to embed solid values in the expression of digital technology and AI. Technology constantly changes, and it will keep changing, but it must be anchored on core values that do not change, and that shape, whichever shape of technology that comes up, that there are underlying values and frameworks of beliefs and convictions and perspectives that inform and anchor how we engage. But secondly, I need to also mention that teachers, parents, and faith leaders are the people who are consistently and constantly with children all the time. A child spends their time either with a parent, a faith leader, or a teacher in school. And the fact that to a large extent, majority of the teachers, majority of the parents, and majority of the faith leaders engaging with children every day are not digital literate and are not equipped with the necessary intelligence and, discipline to model how to use AI is a challenge that must be addressed. But lastly is to say, I think for adults, and that is teachers, parents, and faith leaders, someone has said that you can teach children all you know, but they will only catch who you are and what you do. And so I think it's important that our children, that adults model good use of technology, because majority of the adults, teachers, parents, and faith leaders are misusers of technology themselves. And so our children are learning and basically doing what they see their elder brothers, their parents, their aunties, and other people in their context do.
Thanks so much, Faith.
So my name is Faith Jenge from Plan International, which is a global child rights organization. And I'll start by saying children can only report where trust exists, not where fear exists. I remember the first time I had Facebook, I couldn't even let my mom know at first because unafanya nini Facebook? At that time was some time back. Because when there is fear, the first thing that comes to the mind of children is how will they react? So you can't even help them if you're not giving them a space for them to express themselves. When they want to report something and the first thing that comes to their mind is punishment. And these days, punishment is different. Our time was, you will do the house chores, but right now punishment looks like taking their devices, isolating them. So how do we balance these new terms and the developing technologies, and how do you also handle that? Because the way we were brought up is not the same way we'll bring up these children. Safety for us is not the same safety for them. And another thing, as we work on capacity building for parents and teachers and faith leaders, we have our first ladies here who can help us access the government easily. Like an example, Plan International is working closely with the government and the Treasury on child-sensitive budgets. How can the first ladies help us ensure that there's a budget for child safety, online child safety? Kenya, for example, has the best policies. That one is undoubtable. Kenya has the best policies. But is it being implemented in the right way? Is it functional? Yes, let me take two. And so my ask also, as you're asking people to work with the Office of the First Ladies, you're also asking them to help us ensure that the governments actually budget for capacity building. Because Kenya, for example, the Directorate of Children's Services, when there is harm, do those people have enough resources to even go and help those children? There is whatever Communications Authority of Kenya is doing. Do people know what it does? There is the DCI have a child protection unit, but the information is not known. So as you're going into the next financial years, can we actually budget for child-sensitive awareness and campaigns? Thank you.
Thank you so much for making the case of financing. And I know the PS is here, so I'm sure she's heard you very well. We've really run out of time. One last word, then we give the floor to Tai to close this.
I think I'll go back to values and say maybe it's time conversations like this begin to build consensus around some basic core values that anchor AI and digital technology engagement.
Thank you so much. Faith?
Let's create an environment that children can trust us enough to report harm, and let us budget for child-sensitive awareness.
Jennifer?
We are Africans, we have values, we should not throw away because we have the digital world. Let's see how we can implement them and apply them in our digital world. Thank you.
Tai, to land the plane.
As a child, I can say that as much as the digital world sounds exciting and cool, it also sounds quite scary. I mean, what has just been said, the fact that there are several people that are after us, and the fact that sometimes it's not as easy to communicate. And I think that if you want to give us a good platform, then you should make the we would appreciate a good platform by what has been said, you educating us and us actually getting to learn some of these things in school. I guess peer education would also be a great thing. And yeah, sorry, I have a few questions that we got from each other. So the first one, this one is specifically for TikTok. So did you know that there are content creators on TikTok that hide their content as cartoon but is actually harmful? Like the example that was given was how to hide like a body. So then the question would be, what is TikTok doing about that? The second question is, what can you say, this goes to every company, what can you say is the biggest weakness and flaw, and what have and haven't you done about it? And finally, how do you plan on training the AI models to learn the differences between like bad people and bullying? Bad people bullying, or if it's just a joke. Yeah.
Excellent. So thank you so much. We will have a side conversation because Tonu, you have a direct question from TikTok, and I hope you have the right answers because they're very good questions. But I think there's a larger question to platforms in terms of, and I think it was mentioned when we were having the conversation, that people can lie in terms of their age, but also they can use the AI itself to disguise their malintent. So there's a question in terms of how does the platform, and Tai is right, how does the platform is built in such a way that can safeguard that? And I know the issue around local languages has been mentioned. So I think I would hope that at the break, and I'm sitting next to you, so I'll make sure Tai catches you all and gets his answer. So with that, Your Excellency, let's close the panel, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Ambassador Thigo, together with the panelists who've just left the stage for that grounding conclusion on the emerging technology and especially AI. What is clear is that policies are made in the boardrooms, but protection is lived in living rooms in Nairobi, in our classrooms in Dar es Salaam, and our communities in Lombamba. So it is upon all of us to come together and make sure that our children are protected. Your Excellencies, now with your permission, we'll just have a small piece of entertainment, a conversational entertainment. These children will be telling us what AI looks through their eyes. Let's give them a round of applause as we take this short break with this entertainment.
Hi everyone, my name is Amari and I am 12 years old.
Hi, my name is Koki and I'm 11 years old.
Hi, my name is Vanessa and I'm 13 years old.
Hi everyone, my name is Samara Nilrama, I'm 13 years old.
Morning everyone, my name is Evans and I am 15 years old.
Hello everyone, my name is Blessing, Kate, and that is my surname. I am 15 years old. Thank you.
People keep talking about AI, artificial intelligence, a big word. A very powerful word indeed, but sometimes children are left from the conversation.
We hear parents talking about the future, new system, new tech, new possibilities, but whose future are they building?
What if AI meant something more, something powerful?
What if AI meant accountable inclusion? Because children should not be left out of the future being built for them. No children in cities only, no children with expensive devices only, all children.
And what if AI systems were designed to protect children from the start?
Not after harm happens, not after damage is done, because safety should never be an afterthought.
Some children have strong internet and some do not. Some children speak global languages and some speak local languages. Some are seen by the technology and some they are ignored by it.
What if AI meant accessible innovation, technology that works for every child, children in the village, children with disabilities, children that speak different languages?
African children deserve technology that understands their realities too, our stories, our cultures, our communities.
What if AI meant Afrocentric intelligence, technology designed with African children and African realities in mind? Not copied solutions, not systems that forget us, systems that see us fully.
And that is why frameworks like Watoto matter.
The Watoto framework is child-centered and African-led. And it teaches us that children's well-being, dignity, and their voices, plus their safety, must come first.
Watoto also reminds us that safety is not the child's burden alone. Technology companies, developers and platforms have responsibility too. And building safer digital spaces for children also requires investments, real funding, real commitment, real action, because child online safety cannot survive on conversations alone.
We recognize the Safe Child Online. This is a platform where it recognizes children, it investigates in protecting them and keeping them safe through innovation and partnership.
But more must still be done. Annually, we need $7 trillion to protect all children online. Children everywhere deserve digital spaces that are safe, inclusive, and designed with care.
And also, we ask the government to also strengthen the laws and the policy and invest in child safety online.
We call upon technology companies and AI developers to build with dignity, safety, and child participation at the center.
We call upon funders, donors, and development workers to invest more in child online safety, digital literacy, and child-centered innovation.
We call upon parents, caregivers, teachers in schools that they involve these children, they include these children, and let us protect children.
Because children are not just users of technology, we are creators.
Dreamers, builders, and innovators.
Leaders, testers, and problem solvers. And we deserve to help shape the systems that shape our lives.
So, the next time you hear the words artificial intelligence, pause for a moment and ask bigger questions.
Who was included?
Who was protected?
Who was heard?
Who benefited? And did children really help in shaping it?
Because AI without children
is not intelligent.
It is exclusion automated.
The AI we want is AI that is safe, inclusive,
and built with children.
Not just for them.
Indeed, build with the children, not just for them. Thank you.
Thank you for that conversational entertainment. Your Excellencies, now with your permission, we'll move to the next segment of this program. And at this point, I want to call back on stage Ambassador Thigo to take us through. Karibu sana, Ambassador. Tumpigie makofi jamani, bwana Ambassador.
Artificial intelligence without children is not intelligent. I think I will not forget that. Quickly, let me invite Ambassador Clara Chapas, Ambassador for Digital Affairs and Artificial Intelligence for the Republic of France, to make her remarks.
Thank you. I'm a little shorter than you are. First Lady Ruto just stepped out, but obviously very honored to be welcomed by Your Excellency First Lady Ruto, Your Excellency First Ladies, Your Excellency Ambassador Thigo, dear Philip, ladies and gentlemen, kids. I'd like to start with a special thanks to all the kids we've heard today. I was actually telling Ambassador Thigo that we need you for G7. We're going to have to bring you in France. You were so good. Obviously, the kids from Kent School who made the effort to deliver a poem in French. Merci. The group we just heard now, I mean, we just took a lesson on, I think, what we should all do, and all the ones that have participated on stage and off stage to make this event a reality for them, because it's for you that we're gathered here. It is such an honor to be here during Africa Summit, an event co-hosted by President Macron and President Ruto. It is a very, very special event for France, and we are very, very happy to be able to be such warmly welcomed here in Kenya. I would like to begin by thanking First Lady Rachel Ruto and Ambassador Philippe Thigo for your commitment, your hospitality on this occasion to bring this vital discussion on children's digital safety here within the summit in the State House. I'm also very happy to meet again First Lady Ruto and many of you First Ladies. We met Back a few weeks ago in Washington, D.C., I was with Brigitte Macron. I think you know how important this topic is for her and for President Macron, for France in general. We are so glad for Kenya's leadership to bring this conversation during Africa Forward Summit. 18 months ago, I entered the French cabinet as the first ever AI minister. Turns out, I was also 8 months pregnant with my second kid. And as my 3-year-old was watching me on national TV, stepping in the role, I think as many mothers in this room, I was wondering what impact tech and my work will have on her and my future kids' upbringing. This event is timely. Africa has the youngest population in the world, dynamic demographics, the rapid expansion of connectivity, the emergence of a generation that has grown up with digital technology, some of them your number one here in Kenya, are profoundly transforming habits, economies, societies. Tech tools do represent tremendous opportunities, promises for innovation, creativity, growth, but it also exposes the youngest among us to new risks, amplified by the speed of adoption of those digital technologies, especially artificial intelligence. Research is crystal clear. Online spaces are not safe for children. Children face daily abuse more than anyone else. Cyberbullying, technologically facilitated sexual exploitation, harmful content, misleading content, synthetic child pornography, deceptive emotional entanglements. Talked about it on stage. Environments designed to capture your attention, foster addiction. And the impact is also very clear on mental health, on cognitive development. And it's unbearable. Today, the average age of social media account creation in France is 8-year-old. You'll notice that we heard some platforms on stage sharing that they're not supposed to accept kids before 13. These are not isolated cases. This is not a technological glitch that can be fixed with a patch. This is not a bug. This is a feature configured by tech companies. On Monday, in France, a trial will start, bringing 16 families against a big social platform. My thoughts will go with Marie, Charlize, Lilou, and so many other kids who've committed suicide because they fell into this downward spiral. We cannot accept this anymore. We know this. Existing safeguards remain insufficient today to protect children against those powerful algorithms. Too little content is moderated in European or African languages. Too few tech companies have teams, actually operational capabilities, in both our continents. Actually, none of those tools have been made on our continents. They're all coming from the US, some from China. And the consequences are real. A generation of young people feeling anxious, suffering mental health, wishing that they actually could go off the platform if their friends wouldn't be on it. Faced with this reality, kids, I can only agree with you. We must collectively affirm a very simple principle. Children, parents, teachers cannot bear this responsibility alone. Digital platforms have a special responsibility towards you, children, because they're making billions of money building those addictive products. France has made this issue a priority of our digital policy under the leadership of President Macron, with one very clear policy: no social media below 15-year-old. 7 kids out of 10 wants it. 7 parents out of 10 wants it. Because as a mother of 2, and I think as many parents in the room, we know how it is to be left alone in front of those algorithms and not being able to protect our own kids. Our goal is clear: measurable reduction of children below 15 on social media. Our guiding principle is strong and simple. If it is technically possible for tech companies to capture children's attention, it must also be possible to protect them. You understand everything of us, what we like to eat, what color we wear, where we like to hang out. So please help me understand why you can't verify the age of the users. We've all been kids, and some of us are still kids in the room. It is too tempting to say you're over 13 to access a platform where all your friends are on. It is not responsible to let kids bear those risks. In this conversation, there is one very important fact that I haven't discussed yet. The internet has no border. And so this is why we are pushing in France and everywhere in the world to have this global conversation, and why we are so grateful again to Your Excellency First Lady Ruto to bring us all here during this summit. Because I believe this deeply. Protecting children online is a global common ground. Despite geopolitical tension, it's probably one of the issues where we can make progress collectively together. It is, as it was shared, one of the central themes of our French G7 presidency, where President Macron has invited President Ruto, and we'd be so happy to have you join us, because those conversations cannot happen with the G7 democracies. They need to happen with everyone in the room, and we are so grateful for your commitment. Yes, the world is fragmented, but I don't think we can afford fragmentation when it comes to protecting children. From Washington to Canberra to Nairobi, this shared awareness is a part of a global movement. The digital world is no longer a Wild West. It is subject to the rule of law, and what is prohibited offline must be prohibited online. Finally, as AI adoption is faster than ever, there is actually an opportunity for us. Let's not waste 15 years and just wake up and see our children every day and the impact those technologies have on them. Because as it was very rightly said by the kids just before, safety shouldn't be an afterthought. Let me be clear. Our goal is not to stifle innovation. On the contrary, it's to build common, localized, balanced, trustworthy frameworks that allow innovation to flourish while protecting the most vulnerable. This is precisely the purpose of our digital diplomacy strategy. I obviously want to conclude commending all the efforts that I've made by so many people in the room, the African Union's African Child Online Safety and Empowerment Policy, the African Union Continental Artificial Intelligence Strategy, the Task Force on Child Protection Online. You're leading the way, and obviously, we need you more than ever in this conversation. We will strive to amplify all your recommendations, including the one built at this summit during G7 presidency, because we need this vision. We need everything we are building on to make digital world a safer space. We are so glad that we are working here closely together to shape international standards and protect kids together. Because it is definitely Africa's youth who will be on the front line of digital transformation and the rise of artificial intelligence. So we need your experience, your expertise, your voice, kids' voice, to establish common rules that ensure the protection of children, public trust, and the development of open, inclusive, localized, responsible innovation. And I'll steal this one to kids also myself, because AI without children is not intelligence. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Your Excellency Clara. And Your Excellency, when you stepped out, Clara actually had an idea of having the kids at the G7. Yes. So we will conspire to see how to make that happen. It gives me great privilege to invite Her Excellency President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf to offer a few remarks. I'm sure you've been sitting there quietly and you've listened to the children. Thank you very much.
A happy good morning to all. Let me start by expressing thanks to Her Excellency, the First Lady, for bringing together all of us who are here this morning to extend special greetings to all the other First Ladies and important personalities and guests who are here. I really do appreciate what she has done in bringing together young people, and not so young people together, to talk about this important wave, this movement, we may call it AI, that is truly revolutionizing the way our world works. I came on the invitation of the First Lady, and I represent the elders. The elders is a group of eminent global personalities, former presidents, former prime ministers, former heads of the United Nations, agencies, Secretary General too, former heads of global institutions and national institutions that are holding important areas of world affairs. The Elders was founded by our icon, Nelson Mandela, and continues to use its raison d'etre to promote peace, the rule of law, and general sustainable development throughout the world. We happen to be having our meeting in Nairobi right now, one of our quarterly meetings, and we are lucky that it happens to coincide with the Africa Forward Summit. We'll be looking at matters relating to the global environment, the turbulence that seems to take place, what has happened in the promotion of world development, to multilateralism, to global cooperation. And yes, we too are going to be looking at AI as this new movement. As our founder Mandela said, President Mandela said, it's never too young to lead. And it's never too old to learn. And so we too, as this group of eminent men and women, will be, for these next few days, couple of days, spend our time not only looking at and monitoring the overall conditions of our world today as geopolitical rivalry begins to cause much havoc in much of what we've achieved in multilateralism and global cooperation. And so I just need to say a big thank you to the First Lady for our opportunity to be a part of this. I'll go back and say how much I've learned in just a little while that I have been here and participated in this. And more importantly, when I saw the young kids and how they displayed in their own expressions and their own facial looks about AI, it tells us that this is a movement that is going to capture everything we do in this world. And the sooner we all begin to pay attention, learn it, be able to use it for the movement of the achievement of our individual, regional, and global goals. In closing, let me say it's good to see Kenya once again leading the charge. I remember so many years ago when M-Pesa was introduced to revolutionize digital transfer of funds. And it started in a small way in Kenya, reaching into the rural areas to be able to transfer funds for farmers and all of that. And what do you know today? It has really moved almost globally and has become an effective way for reaching those places where there are infrastructure constraints and refrains. And indeed today, AI is just a much bigger, more prosperous, and more effective means whereby human nature will be able in a different way to communicate to each other, to support each other, and to change the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, former President of Liberia, but also a Nobel Peace Laureate. I think let's not forget that. Please a hand to Helen and thank the elders for availing you to come for this meeting. We know your board meeting is tight, so thank you very much for creating time. Let me transition quickly to invite Mrs. Phili Dlamini, spouse to the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini. Thank you very much.
Your Excellencies, the First Lady, Mama Ruto, First Ladies and spouses of Head of State in the government, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is both an honor and a profound responsibility to stand before this distinguished gathering today. I bring warm greetings from the Right Honorable Prime Minister, the government and the people of Kingdom of Eswatini. A nation, we stand proud of our traditions, deeply invested in the protection of our children and their welfare. We are also increasingly aware of the opportunities and risks that come with our connected world. We have come together today, united in purpose, to address one of the most urgent challenges of our time, safeguarding our children in the digital age. Yet it has also exposed our children to risks that threatened their safety, dignity, and well-being. Every child, wherever they live, deserves to grow up in a safe environment, not only in their homes and classrooms, but in the digital spaces they now inhabit every day. This conference is itself a testament to the collective will of our governments to protect our children. And I am glad that we have this conversation. In Eswatini, as in many nations represented here, the digital world is no longer separate from childhood. It is part of it. Internet access is expanding rapidly, especially among young people. For many, a smartphone is their first connection to the wider world. It shapes how they seek information, how they socialize, and increasingly, how they learn. This development must be celebrated, but it also demands vigilance. Children are exposed to harmful content, online predators, cyberbullying, misinformation, and exploitation. The most vulnerable children are often those least equipped to recognize these dangers and whose families are least able to guide them. Reports on online harm involving children in Eswatini have grown. Law enforcement agencies, child protection officers, and social workers are encountering increasing cases of online sexual exploitation, exposure to violent content, and manipulation of young people through social media platforms. Mental health is another dimension we cannot ignore. With excessive and unguided social media use linked to anxiety, depression, and distorted self-image. Excellencies, as schools advance new curricula that increasingly require the use of technology to access and process information, we must confront a pressing reality. The rural poor are at risk of being left behind. Their exclusion is not by choice, but by circumstance. They live in peripheral areas where infrastructure is undeveloped, where connectivity is unreliable, and where resources are scarce. This divide is not merely about device. It is about justice, equity, and the right of every child to participate fully in the modern world. If we allow technology to widen the gap between those who have and those who have not, we betray the very purpose of education, which is to uplift and equalize. It is imperative that these disparities be addressed even as we develop balanced policies. We must also learn from countries that have taken bold steps to restrict access to social media for children below the age of 16. Such measures reflect a recognition of the profound risk posed to young minds and by unregulated digital exposure, and they remind us that safeguarding childhood must take precedence over commercial interest or unchecked technological expansion. We must also be sensitive to the fact that the social environment promoted through digital platforms may advance a culture contrary to who we are as Africans. Culture and values are what make us who we are. And in Eswatini, we hold traditions, culture, and values so dear because they bind us together. Yet the environment in social media sometimes promotes values and lifestyles that undermine this foundation. To address this, we must promote the avid production of content that reflects who we are, content that celebrates our heritage and strengthens the values that will build our future generations and nation. In doing so, we ensure that technology does not erode our identity, but instead becomes a tool to preserve and project it. The Kingdom of Eswatini has taken steps to address these challenges. We are signatories to the United Nations Convention on the Right of the Child, and we have enacted the Child's Protection and Welfare Act 2012, the Data Protection Act 2020, and the Computer Crime and Cybercrime Act 2020. In 2026, we launched our Child Online Protection Strategy 2026 to 2030, complemented by safety guidelines issued by the Eswatini Commission. First Ladies, you occupy a unique position, both public and personal. We can reach communities where government ministries may not. and we can speak to the realities of family life. We must be informed advocates, listening to children and families, engaging with experts and pressing our government for action. Children themselves must be heard. They are not passive recipients of protection. They have insight into the digital world that adults often lack. Meaningful child participation is shaped safely. Policies is not optional, it is essential. As I conclude, I make a personal commitment on behalf of the Kingdom of Eswatini to champion child online safety as a national priority, to advocate for stronger legislation, increased resources, and programs that reach every child, including those in our most remote communities. I invite each of us here to join in a shared commitment. Let us leave this conference not with words that fade, but with concrete actions, accountable timelines, and genuine resolve. The digital space is evolving faster than our policies can keep pace, but it is not too late to shape it in the image of our deepest values: safety, dignity, opportunity, and cultural integrity. Child online safety is not about restricting opportunity. It is about enabling it. By creating safer digital spaces, we empower children to learn, to dream, and to thrive without fear. In protecting them, we safeguard the future of our nation. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, and for your commitment to champion children's safety. Let me now invite Her Excellency Honorable Mrs. Nima Nkure Nchemba, spouse to the Prime Minister, United Republic of Tanzania. Karibu.
Your Excellency, Mrs. Rachel Ruto, First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, and the host of this forum, thank you very much for hosting us today, and God bless you so much. Excellencies, First Ladies, most importantly, our children present here today. Can I see your hand like this? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to ride on the already established protocols. Habari za asubuhi. Good morning to you all. Excellencies, first of all, allow me to sincerely commend Your Excellency Mrs. Rachel Ruto, the government and the people of Kenya, and all partners for bringing us here today. You have created for us a golden chance, and we really appreciate for this. It is the chance where we converge to address one of the defining challenges of our time, ensuring that the digital future we are building is safe, inclusive, and human for every African child. This chance, therefore, signifies security of the future Africa. Excellencies, today's discussion reminds us of an important truth, that technology itself is not the problem. Artificial intelligence and digital innovation hold tremendous promise for Africa. They can expand access to education, healthcare, entrepreneurship, communication, and opportunities. For many children across our continent, digital platforms are becoming gateways to knowledge, creativity, and participation in the global economy. Yet, alongside these opportunities, there are growing risks. According to the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, children are now exposed to cyberbullying, online grooming, exploitation, digital manipulation, harmful content, harassment, fraud, and AI-generated sexual abuse contents. These risks are not theoretical, they are practical. They are already affecting children's safety, dignity, and development. Excellencies, the move is not just technological, it is a moral, it is a governance, it is a human right, it is a partnership, and above all, it is a children protection. The Holy Scriptures remind us in the Bible, and I quote, "Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me." And another scripture I quote, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves." Proverbs chapter 31, verse 8. This means that children cannot fight the digital battlefield, rather through the efforts of governments, partners, faith communities, parents, caregivers, and all other stakeholders. Excellencies, United Republic of Tanzania has taken deliberate steps to strengthen child protection in both offline and online environments. We have reinforced our legal framework, including amendments to the Law of the Child Act, CAP 13, which guarantees children protection from all forms of violence, including those facilitated through digital platforms. We have also strengthened enforcement through the Cyber Crimes Act 2015. In February 2024, we launched a national child online protection campaign which established a national multi-stakeholder child online protection committee. All these are operational. Excellencies, the future of Africa is not only determined by the economic parameters, it is also determined by considering whether African children can safely learn, dream, innovate, and thrive in digital space without abuse, fear, and exploitation. Africa must not only consume technology, but must also shape its ethical consideration. As leaders, policymakers, and stakeholders, history will judge us not by how we quickly adopt technology, but how wisely and ethically we protected future generations. Therefore, in this forum today, let us commit ourselves to stronger partnerships, stronger laws, and stronger ethical technology considerations. Excellencies, as I conclude, let us envision a future where technology serves humanity, where every child is protected, empowered, and given the opportunity to realize their full potential. Together, let us build a digital environment that safeguards the dignity, well-being, and future of our greater treasure, our children. Asanteni sana. Murokozi, merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Let me now invite the Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Gender, Culture and Children's Services of the Great Republic of Kenya, Honorable Hannah Wendot Cheptumo, to invite Her Excellency to make her remarks.
Your Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, Excellencies, First Ladies present, Your Excellencies, the ambassadors, the partners present, the government officials, the children who are here, good afternoon. Thank you very much, children. It gives me a great pleasure to be here today. First, to thank God for giving us the gift of life, the gift of good health, and the opportunity to serve Him and to serve humanity. Secondly, allow me to thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, and the President Macron of France for jointly having this summit, which has brought all of us together. It has been a great, great time for us as Kenya, and we are very, very grateful to host this event. Now, as a Minister for Gender, Culture and Children's Services, I'm very happy because this forum that we are having today speaks to the core mandate that we have as a ministry. The State Department for Children's Services, and I'm here also with my PS Karen is here, is one of the youngest state departments which was established by His Excellency the President. In his wisdom, he saw the importance of having the State Department for Children's Services as a standalone so that we can deal with the issues of children, specifically on matters welfare. We have the education sector, but welfare is very, very key when it comes to children. And Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya, has a passion for children. So we deal with policy, Mama deals with passion. So we work very, very closely to ensure that the children of Kenya are well taken care of. Thank you, Mama, for the good work that you are doing. As I stand here, I deal with policy. But it has been said here that policy alone is not enough. We actually need action. Because the AI that we're speaking about here is ahead of us. The policy has not even gotten up with it. So therefore we have to move very fast as a continent, as a republic, and as the world to ensure that we move as fast as possible to catch up with the emerging issues so that we can safeguard our children. And therefore, this topic that has come is very timely, and I can commit as a minister that we shall ensure that we pick what we have collected from here to ensure that we firm up the policy and we work together with you, the First Lady, and all of you, especially the partners, so that we can be able to ensure that we have the right menu in place. On matters budgeting, yes, we shall also ensure that we shall have budgets which are sensitive to safeguarding the children. We will also pick issues on advocacy, and we shall be reaching out to you so that we can be able to fast-track advocacy so that parents, the community, the leadership can all speak and ensure that we protect our children. So let us work together to ensure that safety of our children now and in the future is in place. Asanteni sana. Allow me at this particular time to ask all of us to be upstanding to welcome the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya to speak to us. Karibu sana, Mama.
Thank you very much. We may be seated. Your Excellency Laurine Dabux Doumbouya, First Lady of the Republic of Guinea, Your Excellency Marisoa Elizabethine, First Lady of the Republic of Madagascar, Your Excellency Helen Johnson Sirleaf, former President of Liberia, Honorable Filele Dalmini, spouse to the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Honorable Neema Ngure Nchemba, spouse to the Prime Minister of the United Republic of Tanzania, government officials present, distinguished partners, my dear children and youth, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon again. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all here today. Before I deliver my remarks, allow me to extend a very special and warm welcome to Her Excellency, Madam Laureen, First Lady of the Republic of Guinea. My sister, your presence with us today is a testament to the strong bonds of friendship, solidarity, and shared aspirations that unite our two nations and the people of Africa. May I now invite you to deliver your remarks. Benvenue. Welcome.
Excellences, Mesdames les Premières Dames, distingués invités, c'est un grand honneur pour moi de prendre la parole à l'occasion de cet important événement consacré à la construction d'espaces numériques plus sûrs pour les enfants africains dans un monde dominé par l'intelligence artificielle. Je voudrais adresser mes sincères remerciements à Son Excellence, Madame Rachel Ruto, Première Dame de la République du Kenya, pour son leadership remarquable et pour l'accueil chaleureux réservé aux délégations présentes à Nairobi. Je félicite également les organisateurs de l'Africa Forward Summit pour avoir placé la protection de l'enfance au cœur des réflexions sur l'avenir numérique de notre continent. L'Afrique entre aujourd'hui dans une nouvelle ère technologique. L'intelligence artificielle offre des opportunités immenses à nos enfants en matière d'éducation, d'accès au savoir et d'innovation. Mais elle expose également notre jeunesse à des risques préoccupants. Cyberharcèlement, exploitation en ligne, désinformation, contenus dangereux et atteinte à la vie privée. Face à ces défis, nous avons la responsabilité collective de faire en sorte que la technologie demeure au service de l'être humain et de la protection de l'enfant. La République de Guinée estime que, comme énoncé dans le titre, cette protection doit effectivement reposer sur 3 priorités essentielles: la politique, le partenariat et l'action. D'abord, la politique. Nos États doivent adopter des cadres juridiques modernes, capables d'encadrer l'usage des technologies numériques et de protéger efficacement les enfants. Ensuite, le partenariat. Les gouvernements, les organisations internationales, les entreprises technologiques, les écoles et les familles doivent unir leurs efforts pour construire un environnement numérique plus sûr. Enfin, l'action. Nous devons investir davantage dans l'éducation numérique, sensibiliser les parents et les jeunes aux dangers du cyberespace et promouvoir une citoyenneté numérique responsable, notamment pour les jeunes filles, souvent plus exposées aux violences en ligne. Mesdames et Messieurs, l'Afrique possède la population la plus jeune du monde. Cette jeunesse constitue notre plus grande richesse. En protégeant nos enfants aujourd'hui, nous protégeons l'avenir de notre continent. Je demeure convaincue que, grâce à notre engagement commun, nous pouvons bâtir un espace numérique africain sûr, inclusif et porteur d'espoir pour toutes les générations futures. Je vous remercie. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, my dear children, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon again. Bonjour. Let us take a journey back to our childhood. Many of us grew up in a very different world from the one children are growing up in today. A world without smartphones, without social media, without constant connectivity. Very few homes had landlines. Many had no phones at all. When the internet slowly began expanding across our countries, access itself was still a privilege. For many people, going online meant walking to a cyber cafe, waiting for a computer, and paying for a few minutes of connection. The digital world was something we intentionally went looking for. Today, that reality has completely changed. A child no longer has to search for the digital world. The digital world now arrives instantly in the hands of the child. It is in their classrooms, in their homes, in their friendships, in their entertainment, and increasingly in the way they understand themselves and the world around them. Technology has connected our societies in ways previous generations could never have imagined. The world has truly become a global village. But with that transformation comes a new responsibility. Because today, somewhere on this continent and here in Kenya, a child is sitting quietly with a phone in their hand. They are learning. They are exploring. They are curious. But in that same moment, they may also be exposed, unprotected, and unseen. That is the paradox of our time. The same digital world that can unlock a child's future can also place it at risk. And that is why we are here today in this Africa Forward Side event. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, before I proceed, let me warmly welcome my fellow First Ladies and all our distinguished guests to Kenya and to State House, Nairobi. In Kenya, we say, karibuni sana. Your presence here reflects a shared continental commitment to protecting the dignity, safety, and future of our children in an increasingly digital world. I bring you warm greetings from His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, a leader who has consistently affirmed that Kenya's digital transformation must be inclusive and secure. Following bilateral engagements between Kenya and France at the 79th United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, both heads of state agreed to convene the Africa Forward Summit as a platform to move from global dialogue to practical African-led solutions on the future of digital transformation and emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence and child online safety. Under his leadership, Kenya continues to expand digital access, strengthen innovation, and position itself at the forefront of Africa's digital future. But is equally clear on this: progress must never outpace protection, because what we are building is not just infrastructure. We are shaping the environment in which our children will grow, learn, and become. Excellencies, today's child is born into a digital world that surrounds them from the very beginning. We are raising a generation inside systems evolving faster than our ability to guide them. Technology is expanding opportunities, but also creating new forms of exposure that are harder to detect. The question is no longer whether children should be online. It is whether the systems shaping their lives are safe, fair, and human enough. Yet our systems of protection remain fragmented. Our responses remain uneven, and our pace too slow. But this conversation is not about fear. It is about responsibility. It is about ensuring that innovation does not outpace our values. As United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres rightly said, digital technology must serve humanity, not the other way around, because no child should have to adapt to a system that was not designed with them in mind. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, across Africa, key frameworks already exist, including the African Union Child Online Safety and Empowerment Policy 2024, the Continental AI Strategy 2024, the Malabo Convention 2014, and the AU Digital Transformation Strategy 2020 to 2030. Our task is not to create more frameworks, but to connect what already exists and make it work for our children. At the African Forward Summit, Kenya and France are working together to move from ideas to implementation, to translate continental priorities into real dialogue, real partnerships, and real progress. Through platforms such as the Organization of African First Ladies for Development, or AFLAD, and the Fostering the Future Together Coalition organized by the First Lady of the United States of America, Her Excellency Melania Trump, first spouses also have a unique opportunity to elevate this issue and drive collective action. We want to hear directly from children and young people about the harms they face, the opportunities they seek, and the support they need. We want to identify the real gaps in protection, enforcement, financing, education, and community response. Because if we are to design solutions that work, they must be grounded in lived realities, not assumptions. Through the Voice of Children program, an initiative within my office, one of its key pillars is child protection, ensuring that children are not only heard, but also safeguarded in the environments they are growing up in, including the digital space. Through this initiative, we are gaining more insight into what children are experiencing, what they fear, what they hope for, and how they understand the rapidly changing digital world. But listening alone is not enough. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this is a call to action to all stakeholders present to work more closely with First Ladies across the continent. First Ladies are uniquely positioned as conveners, advocates, and champions of social issues that affect families and children. Through platforms such as OAFLAD, we have an opportunity to strengthen collaboration, align efforts, and ensure that child online safety is not treated as a side conversation, but as a central pillar of Africa's digital future. And to our children and young people who are with us today, thank you for the amazing presentations. Thank you for sharing your experiences, your concerns, and your honest perspectives on artificial intelligence and the digital world. Your voices matter more than ever in shaping the systems being built around you. Because the question we must now confront together is this: How do we ensure that every child in every village, town, and city has access to the tools of the digital age? How do we ensure that no child is left outside the global digital village while others move ahead? This is the equity challenge of our digital era, and it demands urgency, collaboration, and shared responsibility. As we live here today, let us reflect on that child sitting quietly with a phone in their hand. May that device become a gateway to opportunity, learning, creativity, and connection to knowledge. Not harm, but protection. Not fear, but hope. Because the future of Africa's digital transformation will be defined by whether the children holding their devices today grow up feeling safe, valued, protected, and empowered within the world we are building for them. This is our responsibility. This is our moment, and this must be our commitment. Let us move Africa forward. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I will request you remain on stage kindly. I'll also request that we have the visiting First Ladies. Your Excellencies, kindly join our First Lady on stage for a photo moment. Our First Ladies, kindly. Asante sana. We'll have 2 photos. This will be our first photo. Kindly remain on stage to join in the photo. I'll request Ambassador Clara, President Ellen Johnson, Your Excellency, join the Excellencies on stage for a photo moment together with our CS. PS, kindly join the photo. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellencies. You can retreat back to your seats. Thank you. Allow me now to invite Ambassador. As we come to the end of the program this morning, before we close with the national anthem.
Thank you so much. I have a simple task of presenting. Testing 1. It's back. Thank you. Present a quick summary of the proceedings that happened today in the view that we will be transmitting exactly this text into the roundtable that we'll be hosting this afternoon. I would like to apologize to my colleague Clara Chappers, who's had to run ahead. I'll join her later as she has to hold forth. We had 3 discussions. I think the 3 discussions were very much framed around platforms, network operators, and practical architecture protecting children from the perspective of the platforms. And we had the platforms being very clear that they have capabilities and are happy to connect with the First Ladies in terms of supporting the work. We've had these capabilities around network prevention, but also training and capacity. We've had the numbers. It means you have skill. You can train. You've already Mera's trained 20 million people. TikTok mentioned about 700,000, so we know you have skill, and that's a possibility. Pillar 2 was around education, digital literacy, and the reality of sovereignty. There's a notion of languages and curricula, and the shared reality we had from Google and Microsoft. In terms of skilling, creating a skilling blueprint, we had the need for curriculum for schools, but also ensuring that that parents are educated but also have capacity. We also had platforms talking about safety-first products and how they are open to collaboration. There was the idea that parents, teachers, caregivers, and faith leaders also need capacity, because digital literacy is basically a whole of society approach. I think this pillar, deepest point, came not from the provider, but I think from the framing question around the three providers, around the language curricula, especially African languages, but also whose stories are reflected in these platforms, and I think the children are very clear around that. The third pillar, which was the final one, I think Tai was very clear in this, was, he was very specific, I think, to the extent of speaking about the cartoons, but also to the understanding that they experience this, they experience bullying, but also children have found a way of hiding personas within the platforms. And so the challenge to the platforms is, how do you ensure that children are the ones who are who are represented the platforms, are not necessarily those hiding behind it. We also heard from civil society the need for advocacy, the need for ensuring that children do not bear the responsibility of protecting themselves of the platform. So what did we agree, I think, finally? One, I think, across the pillars, one, there was a need for enforcement, and we need to work across the ecosystem beyond parents, but also by law and policy. The second one, of course, was safety and security of the platforms themselves, that the platforms, in many ways, can embed these features so that children are protected. We need to have age-appropriate accounts, default privacy, but also ensure that we have restrictions so that children are not harmed online. We also know the third point was around financing, that the helplines, the staffing, the reporting systems need resourcing, and we've had budgets that need to be more or less friendly around online children's safety. The fourth one, which I think was the largest pillar, was the issue around partnerships, that collaboration will take everybody, platforms, children, government, civil society, religious leaders, because it is a whole of society approach. And my understanding is that we have a commitment to support the First Ladies in the spirit of partnerships, including potential, capability, and capacity from the platforms themselves. The fifth is language. I think it came very strongly that these platforms are not built in this continent and do not necessarily reflect our culture, but also in most cases may not capture the nuances of the languages that we have. So this again calls for collaboration, and the platforms I know have been willing and ready to work with content creators in this region to ensure that the languages are represented. Finally, I think there's an idea around capacity, that again, we need training and capacity and advocacy so that everybody begins to understand the risks, harms, and opportunities, and ensure that we are not just, we are pro-innovation, but also pro-safety for kids. And the largest point, I think, is children participation. I think the children have been clear that they are not a recipient of safety conversations. They are the first witnesses, they are the architects, they live the reality of safety, they bear the brunt of the risks of harms of safety, and there is no safety without children, and artificial intelligence is not intelligent if it does not protect children. So that is the summary that we've created. We will be transmitting that today to the main roundtable. We have also committed to transmit it to the Internet Governance Forum. I have also been informed that, with Your Excellency, we can do something at the margins of the UN General Assembly, as that also is a platform that we can leverage. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ambassador. At this point, I'll request we all be upstanding to close this session with our national anthem. State House Choir. Let's allow our excellencies to kindly exit. The rest of us will be guided on how we move from here. Thank you, Your Excellencies. For the rest of us, kindly, we'll access this side of the pavilion for the lunch. So let's all proceed to this end of the pavilion. You're all welcome. Karibuni sana.